Hi.
Hi guys.
Hi.
I'm Vanshita. I've been born and brought up in Nainital. All my life till say 12th grade I was here. So I've done my schooling from Nainital as well. After
Oh,
that I moved to Bangalore, yeah. And so I was in Bangalore and I always wanted to like do like a cafe or like a dining space somewhere in Nainital. So I was always after my parents. Like, I was like, let's do this. And they were just not like take me seriously ever. I said, we'll see. So when I came back from college, I just graduated and I came back. We were renovating the hotel. So we have a hotel over here. This is primarily a hotel. It's a boutique property.
okay.
We were renovating the hotel and I just saw the opportunity and I said, you know what, let's just, start like a dining space over here. And at that time, we didn't know what it would be like. So, and we knew that because there was limited space, we'll have to do away with like a room or two to actually start the cafe.
Yeah.
So that was like a huge risk and it involved like a lot of convincing also. But
Yeah.
we went ahead with that. And now we have like in the hotel itself, we have a cafe which is open to everybody.
Oh,
Wow,
wow.
nice.
That's great. How
Yeah.
long has it been? How old is the cafe?
It's been a little over a year now. We started last year, June, but
Okay.
we haven't been operating for a year now because we had the lockdown in between. So we
Yeah.
were shut for quite some time.
Mhm. Okay, that's great. So how did the like you said, you always wanted to do your own dining space or a cafe. So what was that inspiration that, led you to actually take that decision?
I think it was just pure love for food, and it's not just me. I think it runs in my family. All of us are like big foodies, and even when we are traveling somewhere, we're always like checking Zomato and we're checking places to go to. So it's always like we want to go to a nice place because if you're going, I think food kind of defines your travel experience as well. So it was just pure love for food, and also I think when I was in Bangalore, some of like my favorite eating joints and some of the breweries that I would love going to, they had these artificial lakes. And
Oh,
people would die to sit by the lake, and I never understood what the fuss was. Okay, so
hmm.
coming from Nainital in a place where you actually have like a proper lake here, and you can just dine by the lake, I would
Yeah.
never understand what the fuss was about. This crazy waiting for the that space. So I think it was just you realize that you are blessed to be in a place like Nainital.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
definitely.
that where the name inspiration came from? Cafe Lakeside.
Yeah, I think so. The hotel's called Lakeside Inn, and I
Achha.
wanted it to be in like synergy with the whole concept.
Mm,
Plus, I think the name should just tell you what the place is because
Yeah.
that's what our
definitely.
USP is.
Yeah. I think, yeah, even I think Sanya and I connect with, what you're saying, what the name should mean like. And that's why even we named it the Musafir Collective because we wanted to do everything art and travel. So, we felt
Exactly.
Musafir is like the best name.
Perfect word. Yeah.
And yeah, that's lovely.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what kind of I don't know if I should call it challenges, but like what dilemmas or problems did you face when you were initially starting and probably today as well?
So when we started, I think to begin with, the first challenge was I think convincing dad to actually give me the space and let me do what I
Mhm.
wanted to do with it,
Yeah.
because it's a prime location and it's booked through the years. So actually, it was letting go of a lot of revenue. So I had
Hmm.
to actually do a lot of convincing and tell him, this is going to be feasible
Yeah.
and it's going to work out. So that was to begin with. But I think once we actually started just curating the menu and deciding the kind of cuisine you want to do, the kind of
Hmm.
dishes you want to give, because Nainital, the major challenge that you face is you don't have a lot of supply.
Hmm.
So you have to get a lot of supplies from Delhi, and like the nearest place that we can get our supplies is Delhi.
Hmm.
And just that's like a huge issue for us. So all our dry rations and all of that we have to source. So that sourcing and everything, getting that correct and curating the menu according to that was like a huge challenge.
Hmm.
But I think we had started getting all that streamlined. Everything was getting right, and we had finally got our footing right. and then like the pandemic stuck, and then we were shut.
Oh
So we
God.
just so coming to the challenges now, I think we just restarted last month, and it was as good as starting new.
Hmm.
It was like you're doing everything from scratch.
Yeah.
So it was like a huge challenge, but we've been lucky that way. We've got a fantastic team. They're very hands-on, and
Yeah.
they're quite like they're very enterprising. So every time I come up with like a new idea and let's do this, let's do that, they're in their heads they're probably thinking what an idiot, and then just increasing our workload. But
Yeah.
they're quite hands-on and they're very supportive also. So it's just nice to
Mm.
have like a good team around you. I think that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
Great.
most important to have like a supportive team that's willing to be there.
Yeah.
And how has the last 1 month been for you? Like this post sort of in COVID actually, but like after lockdown, since you opened, how has that been?
It was scary when we started. It was we weren't sure if we shouldn't, all these questions, because you're very responsible you're responsible for everybody who's coming in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with the hotel we can still screen and we can ask for COVID tests before we give out a room, right? But for
Yeah.
the restaurant, you can't really filter the crowd as such. You can do basic screening, basic checks. So it was a little scary, but we thought let's just do it. So like I said, I have a fantastic team, so we briefed them of how to go about it. So it's been challenging. It's extra workload for everybody, for
Hmm.
them especially.
Hmm.
But
Mm.
it's been good. I think it's now that tourism's restarted in Nainital, Uttarakhand,
Mm.
just 2 days back. They've opened borders, so it's scary, but it's good for tourism as well at the same time.
Yeah. It's true. So, your team, like, are they also locals from Nainital, or are they like from other parts of India, or like tell us a little more about them. How many people are working with your team?
Okay, so my team is basically my service staff and my restaurant, like my kitchen people,
Hmm.
and we share a common manager between the hotel and the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
But all of them happen to be from in and around Nainital. So
Okay.
we made it a point actually. So if I don't know if you guys know this, but Kumaon is especially known for like its great cooks and chefs. So we
Yeah.
said, why do we have to actually tap into talent outside when we can get it over here?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
there were,
Definitely.
you just had to do a little hunting and find the right people. But we
Hmm.
tried to keep it as local as possible when it came to hiring people.
That's nice. That's
I
great.
think that makes them stay also because they're closer to home. So,
Hmm. Right.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
that whole connect. So, it's easier for them as well. It
Yeah.
gives them an added incentive to stay with you longer.
Yeah, definitely. And probably I think, because even you are from Nainital and you've born and brought up there, so you know what the culture is and how people deal with issues and what issues you can face in a particular city with, starting something so fresh and so new. That's nice. So, Vanchita, like,
Exactly, exactly.
with Nainital being such a tourist like destination, like I remember as a kid, when I wasn't out of India, like we used to have like a lot of trips to Nainital and Uttarakhand and Himachal. So I'm sure you must be witnessing a lot of travelers or people who come and stay in Nainital for a long period of time. So do you have any experiences or stories of your customers to share?
There are plenty actually. So, I think the best part about being in this business is that you get to interact with so many people, day to day basis. You're always getting, like, you're talking to people are staying here and, you're interacting, you're getting to know their story. So there are lots.
Yeah.
One that I can remember offhand is we just started the cafe, I remember. And so I have this habit of going to tables and actually talking to people. So
Oh, that's
I
nice.
went up to this family that was sitting there, and it was like a couple with their children. And I went
Hmm.
up to them, and turned out that these people had come especially to Nainital after 20 years, and that they'd stayed at a hotel 20 years back when they'd come here for their honeymoon.
Wow. That's so
And
sweet.
they had revisited the place just to show their children where they were. And it was so heartening to see that
Yeah.
people come back even after like all these years. They remember.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So it
That's,
was
I
quite
mean,
nice.
that emotion, I think, you as a person who's running the cafe and, like someone who is so
Exactly.
involved, that must be like
Exactly.
really enriching.
It felt so good.
Yeah.
What did you do in college? Like, what did you study?
I studied business. I majored in finance.
Acha, and then you
Oh,
came back and you started the cafe right after you graduated.
Yes, I
Wow.
had no intention to, but it just happened. Just one thing led to another, and it just
It's
happened.
meant to be. And you get
yeah.
to travel, or do you have to be there more? Like, do you get to travel other places?
Travel has reduced quite a bit actually. The last 1.5 year, I don't remember traveling too much.
Hmm.
But every once in a while, I think for us, the charm is not in the hills because we stay here. We want to go
Yeah.
to the city, and every once in a while, I go to the beach probably.
Yeah.
No more hills for us. So for me, I think the ideal vacation or just traveling would mean just away from the hills.
Oh my God, that's so opposite for us.
Exactly.
Because like, we just want to see a chance to like come to the hills. We were telling like the bunker hostel and our cafe
Yeah.
people as well, and we were telling them that oh my God, this view is so breathtaking. Like we can't like resist ourselves to be there. And but yeah, that's interesting. That's great. So tell us a little about the food that you have at your cafe. Like, is it inspired by anything, or is it just like you said, resources and the ration is very difficult to get in Nainital. So is it based on that convenience, or does it have a particular story or understanding?
Food, I think the menu how I wanted to curate is I wanted to just keep it like comfort food. Like if you're traveling, you just want to eat, like if you're sitting and you want to just sip on it like a good hot chocolate and eat like a good pizza probably, and then you associate the hills with momos. So I was like, you have to have momos on the menu because it's just basic comfort food that you want to like. If you're traveling, you just want to sit, unwind, enjoy the view, and just eat good
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
That's
And
nice.
do you do any events at the cafe?
So we don't do any events. We don't plan any events as such, but it just happens. Like there are always people that we want to jam and sit, and my friends probably want to come and just play the guitar sometimes,
Yeah.
or something or the other. So that just keeps us like impromptu stuff keeps happening every once in a while, and it's just good to see all that happening over here, and it's just like
Yeah.
a nice platform for people to come and just perform and express
Yeah,
themselves. So
I think organically it's the best also. When you don't plan it, it happens naturally and it's really the vibe.
exactly. Exactly. So, in fact, the other day I remember
Hmm.
I was sitting exactly where I'm sitting right now, and you can just see the road from where I'm sitting. So, there was this girl, she was with her brother, I think, and she was on a cycle, and she taken like her leg as support, and she was just sketching something. So, I was like, me being super curious, I just went down, I looked, and she was sketching the cafe. So it was so
Oh.
beautiful. And then I invited her up and he said, you should actually sit here and sketch something. We'd love to, have you sketch something for us here.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh God, that's so nice. I
Uh,
mean, like these, I'm sure for you, like we come to when we go to a different cafe, for us it's like, once in a while kind of a thing. So we enjoy it. But because you are there throughout and every day, that's your routine. I think having these kind of experiences would be meaning a lot to you. Because you're in a tourist destination and you're running a cafe there, so do you kind of see a combination between travel, food, and art? Like, what do you think about these three together as a combination?
I think all three are quite interconnected. Food I associate with travel immensely because I know that like food has like the power to make or break your travel experience. That is what I feel personally. Art again, I feel you have to be in a certain space in your head to actually get that out of you, like the creativity out of you. So that kind of space, if you're like if you're traveling to the certain kind of place that you associate with, I think it kind of transcends into the work that you're doing. So I
Hmm.
think they're all like quite closely connected that way.
Hmm. Very true. Like so much of your inspiration comes from travel because otherwise in your day-to-day life you have the same routine. When you travel, it sort of breaks the routine and breaks the monotony of life, and that's why you get sort of like the best
So true, so
inspiration.
true, exactly.
So do
And
you miss Bangalore?
uh,
I do once in a while. I do, but for us, I think I associate with this life so much more. For me, adjusting to the city is much harder than actually living in the hills. This comes more naturally to me. It's so much easier
Yeah.
and like it flows more easily. For us, just moving to the city is more chaotic and it's more stressful. But every once in a while, yes, I do.
but
That's
what
nice.
is, if you had to like point out the differences between living in the city and living in the hills, since you've done both for like quite a long period of time, what would that be?
I think the most important difference that I see is pace of life. Pace of life is completely different. So it's not about your productivity as such. You can be as productive over here, but you're doing it at like a nicer, like much relaxed pace. Over there, everything's like so fast. You don't have time to actually sit down, pause, reflect, nothing. So here things are like slow and nice, and you're actually busy without feeling busy as such. So
Hmm.
you're actually getting to do things but at like your pace and your speed, so
Yeah,
it's more relaxed.
that's nice. So, like, since it's been one and a half years since you started the cafe, so what kind of vision or aspirations do you have for the cafe? Like, is it like, I mean, I'll leave it to you for you to answer it, but like, is there anything in particular you really wish to do in future with Cafe Lakeside?
With the cafe, I don't know, I think probably just do away with a few more rooms at the hotel and convert that into an eating space as well. But no, on a serious note, I think just keep doing what we are doing. I think just keep it simple. And for me, the last 1.5 years, every day that I come to the cafe, it's I never feel bored or I never feel like it's routine for me. I always come with the same energy. So I think it's just I'm rubbing off the energy of the space, and
Hmm.
it kind of bounces off. So I just want to keep like that energy and that vibe going. Like, I want people to come back, and probably how the couple had come back after 20 years. I want people to come
Yeah.
back to this space with a lot of memories.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that kind of like an environment that, people want to come back to.
Yeah.
Sounds so
That,
lovely.
that, that's lovely. I mean, I just um like when we started Musafir here in Singapore, like 2.5, 3 years back. So we just started with this intention of, getting artists together and giving them a platform and, like presenting their journey. So it wasn't even started with an intention of a collective. We just said कि
हाँ,
एक event
one
करके
event.
देखते हैं. Like one event, and मुसाफिर ही रख दिया था event का नाम. तो तब like we were expecting 20-30 people कोई आ जाएगा. But then when people pushed us, like, like we had an audience more than 100 people, and then we realized, like, oh my God, like how people pushing you, or how we are able to communicate our thoughts and ideas and inspire other people. So even in your case, I feel, it must have
Exactly. It makes
clicked.
you so happy. It just makes
Yeah,
you so so happy that something that you
definitely.
start with, like you don't have like a lot of expectations, but it
Hmm.
just kicks
Exactly.
off, and you see that it's making others happy as well, and it's just
Yeah.
like it's just become a platform to bring people together. That feels great.
Exactly.
That it's another feeling, and I'm like, I was coming to this point of, like so many people in our country, because in India, or like even abroad, there's so many nice different places, and I'm sure so many people have this dream of, having their own cafe. Like like I know so many people who do, but you actually made it happen. So probably, what would you say to a person who is in your space when you were starting in at this point of time?
I think it just looks easier than it actually is.
Yeah.
And every day is going to be, you can't predict. So when I was when I did do business, right? So I had an option of either I could major in finance or marketing or HR. But here you realize when you're doing your own thing, you're doing everything all at once. You have to take
Hmm.
care of marketing, you have to take care of HR, you have to look after the people who are with you, your team, and then finances and accounts and then operations. So food is
Hmm.
just like one part that people usually see, but there's a lot of that things that go behind the scenes as well, which is actually
Hmm.
the more challenging part.
Yeah.
So I think it's like one well-oiled machine. So you have to keep all parts oiled to actually keep it running. So
Hmm.
it's great. It looks quite easy, but it has its own set of challenges. But if you get it right, and I'm still figuring out how to get it right, I think it's a wonderful feeling.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm just waiting to come to Nainital. Like we were telling, the bunker hostel and our cafe as well. That बस अब खुल जाए तो अब जल्दी जल्दी जाके because that's what we want to do. What we do is we
Exactly.
collaborate with cafes, we collaborate with spaces to do our events. Um, and we love to like collaborate with you in some way and do something.
We can't wait. I was so excited to do this, and I just hope we can do something in person as well. Things have become so
Definitely, I
virtual
think.
now because
Yeah, something good out of this pandemic. I think, we can sit across countries and kind of just communicate and get to know each other. And I mean, it's such a beautiful feeling.
this is like the sitting area.
Um,
I think my camera tenses a little, and this is like our space inside. Um,
wow.
and you get out and you can,
Oh my God.
so you can just
So
sit here.
dreamy. Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah. And Jerry here makes the best hot chocolate that you can imagine. He
Hi.
makes really good hot chocolate. So you guys have to come. Nothing else. You could come for this hot chocolate.
For
Definitely.
sure.
Let me get this right. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
So you can just.
So beautiful. Like it's really making me want to just leave and like come there and just like spend all my time just sitting there and working.
I
I
mean, I
can't
think
wait to have you guys over. You should actually plan something this time. It would be
definitely.
amazing.
I think, I can already see us being there and sitting together and brainstorming a crazy
Yeah.
event. And just like, it'll be so great. And thank you so much, Vanshita. I mean,
It
I think even though you started 1.5 year back, I think, with what we know and what we see and, your complete affection towards the place, I think it's so inspiring and probably is inspiring for us to do something more with Musafir as well. So thank you
no,
so
thank
much.
you. You guys are so sweet, and I think you guys are doing great. So all the best with all that you guys are doing.
Thank
And if
you.
you guys ever need us around for anything, you can come here to brainstorm and plan your events. I think.
Definitely.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Have a
Bye
great
bye.
day. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.